Hello everybody, welcome once again to the home of Warrington Rugby League Football Club, Wilderspool Stadium. Coming out there on the screens, the Widnes Club, challenging for a top 8 spot. I'll hand over now to Gary McGrath, who'll talk you through the personalities, and there's plenty of them, have made the trip from Norton Park. Here's Gary.
Thanks Bill. The Widnes team, well, as usual at full-back, Stuart Spruce, Dave Myers on the wing, Carl Hammond and Darren Wright stay in the centre positions, and Adrian Hadley on the left wing. Half-backs, Dave Thewayne in at standoff this afternoon, Bobby Golding number 7, the Widnes pack, Andy Ireland, Steve McCuddy and Paul Moriarty comes in at number 10, and the back row, Tim Russell, what a good season he's having of late, Sidney from Milo, and nice to see Paul Hume back at number 13. Widnes substitutes Christian Tyler and David Hume. And now back to Bill for the Warrington team.
Anybody? Well, I'll quickly dive into the young mascot today. Stuart will pick him up on cameras. We're pleased to welcome down here 11 years old James Knowlton. James attends Oakwood Junior School, and his hobbies obviously playing rugby league, gymnastics, and he's a bit of a pianist. His favourite players at Wilderspool, Chris Rudd, Jonathan Davis and Gary Chambers. Now I'll run straight through the Warrington club. Lining up Lee Penny, Mark Foster, Alan Bateman, Jonathan Davis, former Widnes player, and Rob Myler. Halfbacks Kevin Ellis and Greg Mackey. Front row, Gary Tees, John Thursfield, Roland Phillips. Second row, Bob Jackson, Paul Derbyshire. Loose forward, Kiwi international Kelly Shelford. Subs, Sanderson and Craig Teitzel. Thanks very much to today's main match sponsors, J&K Ross of Warrington Limited, match ball sponsor, PLP Motors of Warrington, associate and programme sponsors, Jackson's, the Chartered Accountants. Thanks to all of those, without whose continued support, top-class rugby league would not be taking part at Wilderspool. Now then, John Holsworth is the match official. Widnes will start today's proceedings. Usually, Gary, when Warrington and Widnes meet head-on, there's blue smoke, there's frayed tempers, but above all else, good, full committed rugby league.
Yes, quite right, Bill. I seem to remember that Norton Park, a game exactly as you've just described it there, and Warrington are taking the points 18-10, and I seem to remember that Jonathan Davis had quite a bit to do with that scoreline. It's an important game for both sides. Warrington, of course, second in the league at the moment, but played 2 more games than the other contenders. Widnes, well, they're in 8th position, and they've got to win this one really to stay in contention for the top 8 spot. Some difficult games to come. Bobby Golding will start the match, and Warrington should take possession first, so we'll hand back to Bill.
Thanks to Gary. Warrington streaming out. Mark Forster takes a tackle from the under-21 captain Steve McCuddy. You will see no quarter asked or given today. There's Thursfield taking a shot from Carl Hammond. Warrington so far this season with 19 wins, Widnes just a 12, but you can ignore all that. Goes out the window once the boys cross the touch line. Widnes have been given 6 points on the coupon, so that set the scene for you. Here's some play. Gary Tees had an outstanding game last week against Salford. Looked like a knock-on, the Warrington club getting away with it. Kevin Ellis has got 6 on his back, has released a sloppy ball. Humes tidied it up, Widnes on the roll.
Yeah, well, it's Dave Thewayne actually who picked it up, and Carl Hammond now coming forward, and a bad start there for the Wire. A loose ball scooped up by Dave Thewayne, the first attacking chance for Widnes. A run around, Golding gets the ball out wide to Darren Wright. Wright forced to take the tackle. It takes 3 Warrington players. Steve McCuddy back to full form, and Widnes switch it to the blinders. The big man, Paul Moriarty, the big Welshman. Good to see him back in the starting lineup. McCuddy, well, a little kick there early on in the count. Was it a knock-on? Touch judge says no. Mr. Holsworth did look at him. Can't understand why McCuddy did kick there. It was a bit early in the tackle count, but early pressure for the Chemics.
Well, that's how it's going to be here at Wilderspool today. Spill balls, we've got a strong wind, a cold wind. These 2 teams, geographically, closer together than any other of the teams, I think you'll find, in the Stones Bitter Championship First Division, and that feeling creeps in. That's Gary Tees again in midfield. Takes a tackle on the quarter line. Pitch in surprisingly good condition, considering the rain we've been having of late. John Holsworth, the match referee from Leeds, has got his left arm raised. Warrington will go to the boot. That's Welsh international centre Alan Bateman. Kicks long for Stuart Spruce.
Stuart Spruce drives hard as usual Doesn't break the tackle this time, but again, 3 Warrington tacklers in on that one. And Hadley's done well there to come off the opposite wing, working well early on in the game. Adrian Hadley, ex-Salford player, and again Widnes come to the blind. It's good to see Paul Hume back. Although Widnes had a good win against Featherstone without the 2 Humes, it's one of the few times they've won when both Humes have been missing. And the Ireland, a big hit though, excellent tackle by the Warrington number 12, Paul Derbyshire. For Milo was on the dummy, and now Moriarty dips his shoulder, can't get the ball out. The final tackle for Widnes, it's going to go up. Well, it's not. Bobby Golding puts an awkward little kick in, but in the end, Ellis takes it fairly comfortably.
So that's one attacking option unveiled by star scrum half at Norton Park. Bobby Goulding gets a good tackle in. Lots of talk about whether Goulding will be at Norton Park next year. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Lots of clubs would be interested in him, but Widnes would want a sizable fee. And that's Bob Jackson in the tackle. John Holsworth blows his whistle, gives a debatable penalty. Whatever, what John Holsworth says will go. Just while I'm on about Bobby Goulding, he's expressed a wish to stay at the club, Gary. But Widnes' financial affairs are stretched. Don't want to put you on the spot, but I suppose everyone would like to see him there next season.
Oh, definitely, and I think this is just my personal opinion. I've not actually spoke to Bobby about this, but I think he's happier at Widnes than he was at Wigan and Leeds in terms of, well, he certainly seems to be a more settled player, and he doesn't get into as much bother, and it's showing in his game, and he's got the man of the match award so many times. It would be a big blow if Widnes lost him, but obviously the lad's got to make a living, so we'll have to see what happens. Meantime, Warrington in possession, coming forward for the first time in the Widnes half, and back to you, Bill.
Yeah, Gary T's making inroads there. There's skipper Mackey. There's a knock on. Roland Phillips unable to take the pass. So that will result in the first scrum of the day with advantage for the Chemics. Chemics pushing hard for the spot in the top 8, Gary. Would seem a lowly position for a big club like Widnes. Just got to hope, keep going, hope for better things next year.
Well, yes, Bill, don't forget though, at the start of the season, a lot of people were writing Widnes off as relegation candidates with all the goings on in the off season, and I think they've done a tremendous job. I think the players and Phil Larder can really hold their heads up of what they've achieved this season. Widnes coming forward, Golding sending for Milo, never stops going for Milo. Look with those legs, still pumping, he breaks through the tackle, knocks off 4 players there, and he gets up, fired up. David away in a good sidestep. It's the closest thing I think that Widnes have seen to Tony Myler. And that was a great loss to the club when Tony had to announce his retirement, and it was confirmed a couple of weeks ago that that was definite. Golding, a lovely chip through, it's well weighted. Hadley can't get there, it's going to go dead, and it was well judged, I have to say, Greg Mackey. And the Bill, I think your heart was in your mouth there for the second.
Well, this strong wind that's gusting at Wilderspool, I can't give you the direction because it's changing round. Got hold of the kick, caused a problem in the defence. However, no points on the board. Mark Forster takes a tackle there. Tim Russell on the tackle, short-term Aussie signing. Here's another Aussie, Bob Jackson, dragging the defence with him. Warrington haven't had time to settle in this game yet. Widnes have come out right on the toes. Warrington trying to move it midfield. Roland Phillips beating defenders. There's a Roland Phillips special. Left forwards in his weight there and unloaded the ball. Huge round of applause echoes round Wilderspool. And here's Kelly Shelford. Shelford drop off pass for Ellis. Ellis midfield. Thursfield feeds on. Roland Phillips is in the centres. Bateman sniffing. Tackle on the halfway. And a new comes out from the Brian Bevin stand. Here's Jackson straightening matters up. Former Cronulla, Penrith and Fulham player. Takes a tackle 10 metres inside the Chemics half. Phil Larder's men on the back foot. Davis has the ball in his grasp. Puts in a grubber kick. Stuart Spruce tidies up. And Widnes come roaring out.
Well fielded by Spruce, and he made some good ground as well. Neither side yet really using the up and under that we might have expected in this swirling wind, and that's good play by Hadley. Keeps his legs going, won't be put down. Eventually he is put down by Greg Mackey. Darren Wright makes a good little bit of yardage there just to get the forwards settled and organised. Bobby Golding now puts a kick in, gets Wellington back down inside that 20-metre zone, and the Widnes a good start, had most of the positional advantage in the first 5 minutes, and the Widnes fans chant Bobby Golding's name.
Yeah, cheers Gary. Carnival time away to our right, where all the Widnes supporters are having the times of their lives. Deafening silence rolling in away from our left. Absorbing game already. Here's a chance for you to gauge the strength in the two packs. Warrington take the scrum count 1 apiece. Tackle breaks out involving David Ruane. Made his way to Norton Park from Lee. Here's Shelford. Ellis misses out Davis for Bateman. Bateman's got a yard. Bateman's going. Alan Bateman then generates a bit of noise away to our left. Warrington supporters wake up. Bit of kerfuffle at the play the ball. Shelford has the ball. Throws out a long loopy pass. Rob Myler has to turn fetch. Gets up, leaves David Myers. Myler's going. Myler's strolling up the touchline, leaving defenders. Myler crashes into the red zone. Immaculate run from Rob Myler there for a sloppy ball. Derbyshire's at acting half. Here's Warrington skipper Greg Mackey. Kelly Shelford throws out a iffy pass. Jonathan Davis has unloaded. Gary Teasey's in the centres. Crosses the quarter line. And Tim Russell gets a super tackle in. Electric Rugby League then, early doors, Wilderspool Stadium. This is Ellis. Shelford. Paul Derbyshire's in the centres. Looks to turn the ball in. Takes a tremendous hit. And the attack grinds down to nothing. So still tackles in hand then. Here's Kelly Shelford once again. This is Mackey. Mackey's put a kick in for Mark Forster. It's a foot race. Mark Forster gets a touchdown. That's a tremendous opening try for the Warrington club. The fans in the stands go wild on a Sunday day. I'll let Gary describe the try.
Well, it all started really with that pick-up by Rob Myler. It was an awful ball, but David Myers will be devastated with himself there. He's a player with a lot of pride, is Myers, and he let Rob Myler get on the outside, and that excellent run by Myler set up the attack. Warrington took a few drives in, but then an excellent kick, a perfectly judged kick. Forster, well, he'd started going as soon as the ball hit the boot, and Hadley just couldn't turn in time and get there. So Jonathan Davis misses that kick. It's 4 points to 0, and the Widnes fans, with a sense of humour no doubt behind the sticks there, shout Widnes reject at Davis. Well, you don't get many rejects as good as that, and Warrington will be heartened. It's a high tackle there on Jackson. Steve McCurry, I think, giving away that penalty, and Widnes with a lot to do now.
Yeah, fair enough decision from John Holsworth. No malice, nothing doing. But when Warrington and Widnes are playing, little things like that can get magnified, and all of a sudden you get a nuclear blast. However, Davis, right-footed, not looking for long yardage, just puts the ball safely into touch. And here we go, Gary Tease. Gary Tease looking to break the line, gets a great ball out. Shelford's looking for options, none forthcoming. Paul Hume exacts a huge tackle, good run, good tackle there. Here's Phillips. Two defenders got a grip of Phillips, including McCurry. That's Thursfield for Mackey. Shelford. Long ball for Ellis. Bateman's looking for a yard. Bateman arrows across the halfway line. Excellent attacking rugby league again. Good cover defence from the Chemics. Delay at the play the ball. Had enough of that last week against Salford. Here's Jackson. Jackson's taking it up single-handed. Picks up a good 10 metres. Widnes dropping back. It is kick time. Mackey's put a little kick into touch. Will be a scrum down. Advantage for the Chemics.
Yeah, so just make a comment there though, Bill. John Holsworth allowed virtually the whole of the Widnes team to stand offside on that final play the ball, and there were two players standing offside in the middle, and it's something that referees do. I've actually spoke to referees about this. God knows why they do it, but they take the team back 12 yards and then let them stand 2 yards in front of them. And we're going to get to the stage soon where the players are going to have to take tape measures out and measure it themselves to make sure they're onside. However, it was to Widnes' advantage on that time, so we won't complain too much about it as Widnes look to move the ball. But Stuart's loose. Tackled well by Alan Bateman. He won't go down. He does eventually. Not the best of balls. Hume takes it on his shoulder. It would have knocked Long John's parrot off that, wouldn't it? And Widnes finding it difficult to get out. Well, what happened then? Knock on. I think the touch judge on this side signalled that, and Paul Hume drops a clanger. They won't be happy with that one. And they won the Widnes bench. Well, Widnes somehow got the feed, but they've lost possession from the scrum, and it's a chance for Davis. Davis is going for the corner, and Jonathan Davis has scored. Darren Wright did his best to put Davis into touch. Well, that was, what can you say about that, Bill? with the Widnes reject has gone over in the corner from a scrum which somehow the feed went to Widnes, but the ball went to Warrington, and Davis, well, he doesn't need too many chances like that in a game. So again, Davis unable to convert. Bobby Golding kicks off, kicks it deep, not a bad kick, and it bounces awkwardly. And well, the fans shout offside. I think some of the players pointed offside, but you can't actually be offside in the in-goal area. And unfortunately, a lack of knowledge there in some of the fans behind the sticks. You can't be offside. In fact, you can pass the ball forward if you want to in that area. You can do virtually anything.
Well, I've learned something today. I didn't know that myself. However, Roland Phillips comes tearing out. Paul Hume was tearing in. The ball's come out in the tackle. Warrington keeping it moving, great style. There's some big hits being dished out by the Widnes defence. That's what the fans want to see. There's Bob Jackson. Bit of unintentional shepherding there. Widnes supporters all wishing John Holsworth a happy Easter, but he won't be bothered. Here's Tees again. Breaks the quarter line. Almost had half a chance to release the ball. Warrington will go to the boot, or should go to the boot. Jonathan Davis, right-footed. Kicks at David Myers, and Spruce tidies up.
Jonathan Davis and Tim Russell just have a bit of Easter merriment off the ball there, but the game goes on, and Daniel Wright steps away from the first. Can he get the ball out? He's got many support. Oh, he just couldn't get it out. Carl Hammond there screaming his head off. Bobby Golding was steaming up. Hammond steps, gets the ball out to David Wayne. Back to McCuddy. There's not a lot on now. All the doors seem to have closed. Good defence by Warrington. They got back quickly there to cover that attack. A great break by Darren Wright, and the Islands coming now. Charges forward. He's looking for support. There's nobody close enough. Now Bobby Golding comes to get involved. McCuddy gets the ball to Myers. It's close to touch. Myers does well to come in field. McCuddy. Long ball out to nobody in particular, picked up by Hume, but he drops it while Hume was under all sorts of pressure, and it's a chance for a quick counter-attack by the wire, but Carl Hammond does his job well and snuffs it out.
Well, I don't want to state the obvious, but Widnes do not need to gift possession to the Warrington club. Warrington have been threatening to hit the peaks of their early season form, will not need any help at all. There's Mark Forster, has now scored 102 tries in his career with the wire. What an achievement that is. Roland Phillips attacks the halfway, gets there with half the pack hanging on. Tremendous gutsy run from Phillips there. Warrington have stacked deep left. We'll look to mount another attack. This is Mackey. Delayed pass. Gary Tees takes a tackle from Andy Island. John Holsworth seems to have spotted a forward pass or a knock on, and we'll get another scrum down. Scrum count presently 2 apiece. Penalties 2-0 for the home team. Scored 8-0 for the home team, and here's Gary.
So Widnes let off the hook there. Scrum is a bit untidy, but we're quite used to that in rugby league circles, I imagine. Widnes looking to come away, and Stuart Spruce looking to get a gap. He knocks off Jonathan Davis, but credit to Davis, he comes back and makes a good low tackle around the legs. Right, Hume, forward pass, shout the crowd. I couldn't disagree with that, with an excellent tackle on Hume by Paul Derbyshire. Golding, Tim Russell coming into top form the last couple of games is the Aussie. Steve McCuddy, is he going to scamper? He feeds it back inside. Moriarty finds a gap, and Moriarty, well, Widnes have scored a great try for the Welshman. Good to see him back in the team, and poor Moriarty there found a gap as big as the Mersey Tunnel, and he went storming through it to score just to the right of the sticks. Slack play by the wire, but Widnes are back in it, and the lads in the castle will be jumping up and down in the seats now with that one. Put down your beer. Widnes are back in the game.
Spectators getting good value for money here at Wilderspool Stadium this far into this game. Bobby Golding, right in front of our camera position, looking to close the game down to 2 points. Still got a difficult swirling wind here at Wilderspool Stadium. Golding will try and contend with that, strikes well. It's over all the way. Golding successful. Score reads Warrington 8, Widnes 6.
Not sure if the Widnes fans are shouting Bobby or Blobby, but the ball went over and Widnes back in the game, and those two difficult kicks that Davis couldn't convert, well, they could prove all important at the end of the day. There's just 2 points between the teams now. A brilliant score by Paul Moriarty. Widnes, well, more or less the strongest team they've been able to field all season, if you include David Hume and Christian Tyler on the subs bench. Just really Mosi Coloto and John Devereux missing from the major squad, I think. And Paul Hume comes out now, fired up, leading by example, the Widnes captain for the day. And a penalty, a good decision by Mr. Holdsworth. He had to do it. He penalised Widnes before. John Thursfield just wouldn't get off Paul Hume. Mr. Holdsworth just has a word there with Bobby Golding. Golding puts a long kick in. A brilliant kick by Bobby Golding. That must have gone fully 60, 70 metres there. And it gets Widnes back down, and the crowd, you can sense the anticipation. Golding, well, he's on his own a little bit there, slips the ball inside to David Away, though. A crucial tackle, a quick play the ball. Now McCully's going for the line, back inside. Hammond keeps the ball alive, nothing daft now though. Widnes, they've got 3 more tackles, or 4 more tackles left. Going in ones at the moment, and Carl Hammond drops the ball, and now will Wire come away. Jonathan Davis, he's got support. Myler steps back inside. The ex-Widnes St Mary's man is tackled by Tim Russell. And Bill, this is what you call end-to-end stuff.
Certainly is. Excellent, exciting rugby league in the sunshine at Wilderspool. Excellent pick up and gather there, release Rob Myler. So that's Lee Penny, will play the ball for Jackson. Roland Phillips, hungry for work as usual. Drives into the defensive line, takes it with him. Atmosphere turning itself up a few notches now. Here's Mackey, Shelford looking for options. Well, Shelford finally finds Bob Jackson. This is Ellis trying to step. Super tackle comes in from Aussie Tim Russell. Mackey once again in possession. This is Jonathan Davis, puts a little short kick in. Rob Myler's trying to sniff. The ball's knocked out, we'll get a drop out under the bar. Well, when you think there's 6 league places between these teams, got a bit of an injury scare, I'm sad to report, right in this gym corner at Wilderspool Stadium. As I was saying, 6 places between these 2 teams. You'd think it was a Challenge Cup final, Gary.
Yes, it's a very important game for both sides, and I think that commitment there of the 2 injured players, Rob Myler and Stuart Spruce, just indicates how important the game is. Jonathan Davis got a bit of a lucky bounce there with his initial kick, and Myler hacked it ahead. Stuart Spruce raced to get there. Myler went for the ball as well, and the 2 players collided. And I think, Rob Myler is unfortunately going to be stretched off, and that is a tragedy for Warrington and a tragedy for Rob Myler as well. He's an absolutely smashing lad, and if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the 2nd time I seem to remember him being carried off this season, and that's a great pity. He went in with full commitment. As I say, he signed on from Warrington, from Widnes St Mary's, played for the amateur Widnes Town team in a full-back position, signed as a full-back, and now on the wing, scored some excellent tries, and thankfully he's back on his feet. But I don't think he's going to be able to stay on. And I think Warrington substitute coming on, Bill.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. Rob Myler has been in super scoring form, one of the nicest blokes you'll ever meet in any walk of sport. Picked up a huge knock, so that's Myler wearing 5 off. Sanderson wearing 14 onto the park. So that's a forward, replacing the back. Kevin Ellis has drifted out onto the wing, so there's something to look out for. Here's something to look out for. Lee Penny. Penny well tackled there by Assini Fire Marlowe. Crowd favourite. Applause in the background for Rob Myler. There's Sanderson driving it in. From what I can make out of Rob Myler's posture, he may have a collarbone injury. There's Mackey, spreads it central. Lee Penny's delayed the pass, delayed it that long it didn't go. Kelly Shelford will go to acting half. And it's Phillips. Ball's out, has gone clearly forward. For a minute there I thought John Holdsworth was a wire fan, wasn't going to blow, but he did, and Widnes will look to build from the scrum.
He is a wire fan, isn't he? Yes, I've just been asked by our cameraman this afternoon just to apologise if the camera's a bit wobbly, but I think he had a few beers last night. No, but seriously, the wind is blowing up the Gansley up here, and it may cause a slight wobble on the picture, so we put that down, unfortunately, to the weather conditions, which are very blustery. But Widnes looking to come away. Carl Hammond, well, he held that ball up there, and I thought he may be a bit adventurous, but eventually he kept hold. Paul Hume takes Widnes just short of the halfway line. Bobby Golding and Dave Dewayne shouted, give it us, Bob. Gets the ball out to Tim Russell. But Warrington hook it back, and up then the knock on, I think. Well, Widnes, a lucky escape there. Tim Russell just caught unawares, the ball hooked back by Roland Phillips, who for my money is having a top game down there for the wire, but fortunately the Warrington player who went to pick the ball up knocked it forward. So Widnes will get 6 more, 10 metres inside the wire half. Stuart's Bruce goes to the left side, not exactly the blind side. Scrum was centre field. Golding's telling now Hadley to go towards the sticks. Second tackle, Steve McCurry waits, and the Island centre field a run around. Well, these props, Widnes got some good ball handling prop forwards in this squad. No Dave Smith, of course, today. I've omitted to mention earlier on, not the best of balls, but Hammond takes it well. He was a little bit of a Jonathan Davis type shuffle with the ball before taking the tackle. Myers adjudged to have knocked on there. The touch judge gave that one. Dave Myers argues with the touch judge to hold his hand out, but the knock on is given and the pressure taken off the home side.
So look for the scrum count to go 4 apiece. Penalties are now 2-1, score 8-6. Lee Penny's in possession in midfield. Darren Wright affects the tackle. We're in the 28th minute, and it's Jonathan Davis. Tackled immediately, nothing doing there. Opposite number Darren Wright on the tackle. Here's Mark Forster attacking the quarter line. Andy Ireland prevents him from getting there. Warrington stack personnel. Deep left. This is Mackey for Shelford. Has Penny in support. Shelford looks to release the ball. Good tackling again. Darren Wright getting through the bulk of the tackling in this phase of the game. Here's Gary Tees. Looks for runners. Nobody's following up. Something that Warrington could do with putting right. There's Mackey gone to the right foot, chips into the pocket, and here's Stuart Spruce.
Still, the team's not really using the high up and unders in this swirling wind. Something that we may find difficult to understand. And again, Warrington penalised for an infringement at the play of the ball. John Holdsworth is not doing an impersonation of a teapot. He's just indicating that the player's leg, Stuart Spruce's leg, was pulled. And again, a long kick by Golding sends Widnes down towards that Warrington line. And the Island does the donkey work, takes the ball in. Well, it popped out there somehow. What's going on? Pulled out, says Mr. Holdsworth. I'll accept that, but I honestly don't think that Mr. Holdsworth saw what happened there. The touch judge awarded it, but I don't think it was a bad decision, and it gives Bobby Golding another chance, and this could equalise the scores now, Bill.
Yes, it certainly could. Mr. Holdsworth didn't see the incident. The touch judge did, quite correctly. The referee consulted the touch judge and followed his instructions. The only little footnote to put onto that is that the touch judge was wrong. However, on the balance of play, this far into the first half, the touch judge, well, Widnes deserved to be level on points. The club, well, the Warrington club has been shook by the news this week of the impending end to veteran second rower Paul Cullen's career. Paul was such a powerhouse in the Warrington pack, the club will find it hard to replace him. He's had a second opinion from Cambridge. Well, best wishes to Paul Cullen, and let's hope he can return. Now here's Bobby Goulding to try and square the game up.
21 metres out, a couple of metres to the left of the sticks, and Goulding sails it over. Well, that was one that Jonathan Davis would have enjoyed, but not today. Our Widnes are back on level terms. It's 8 points apiece. 30 minutes gone, and Phil Larder no doubt will be very pleased with the way that the Chemics have kept at it and pulled back the points in this game. And so will my mates Sheila and Louise, who sell the Golden Gamble tickets at Widnes. They've asked me to give them a mention. I'm sure that the Warrington fans won't mind if I oblige there. I said I'd give them one, and so I have done. So the ball with Senny for Milo, can't bump off the tackle on this occasion. Very teased, but Paul Hume comes forward powerfully for Widnes, and McCurry keeps that momentum going by sprinting away from the half-back position. Well, our Widnes going to take charge of this game. Tim Russell, big hit though by Jackson on him. The Wayne dummies. McCurry didn't expect that, I don't think, but Stuart Spruce nearly made a break, stopped on the halfway line. The final tackle. Now what will Bobby Goulding do this time? Now there's the high one, not the best of kicks, but it does go into space. It's an awkward bounce. It bounces. Darren Wright takes it. Myers is looking for someone to pass to, but there's nobody there, and it's still the final tackle. Myers involved in a bit of a tussle. With that ball, well, it could have gone anywhere, Bill, when it bounced.
Well, like you kept highlighting, it's about time that the team's got round to that particular attacking option. With the wind how it is today, it'll cause panic in attack and defence, and probably up here on the gantry. However, 8 points apiece. Been a super game this far in. 2 tries for the Warrington club, just the 1 for the Widnes club. Within 10 minutes of the break now. It's tees. Warrington have been hard at the game for the last 7 or 8 minutes. Need to keep the ball tied in, stitch passes together, and try and build some yards. Here's the man to try and instigate that, Greg Mackey for Kelly Shelford. Shelford releases a sloppy ball. Davis cleans it up. Davis in heavy traffic, runs around the outside of Andy Ireland. Oh no, he doesn't. Andy Ireland reels him in and dumps into the ground. Ironic chase from the Chemic support away to our right. Mackey puts a little grubber kick in on the far side. Mark Forster's in pursuit. Can't get there. The ball rolls out.
Session. David Wayne comes forward. There's just 7 minutes left in this half on my watch. Paul Hume, only one direction for him, and that is forward. Warrington just slowing the play, the ball down there. Paul Moriarty dips his shoulder. Well, I'm not sure that Tim Russell would thank him for that one. It wasn't quite the Easter egg he was expecting on this Good Friday afternoon, April Fool's Day. Well, there's no fools out there, I can tell you that. Well, the ball goes forward as Andy Ireland hits the deck. He did knock on a fair decision, I think, by Mr. Holdsworth. Andy Ireland shakes his head, not happy with that, but I don't think he can argue with the decision there. Fair one, and a chance for the Wire to come away and mount an attack.
Scrum count was 5 apiece, and Warrington mount the attack in the shape of Kelly Shelford. Bit of mauling in the tackle. That's what you get in rugby league these days. Here's Gary Sanderson. Steams into the quarter line. So Warrington in strike range, runners everywhere. It will be Roland Phillips. Charges at St. Marlow and Andy Ireland, and the ball comes out. John Holdsworth is right there, gives play on. Boos roll down from the Fletcher end, and it stays 8 apiece.
Well, they can boo as much as they want to with that ball. Definitely just popped out. It wasn't pinched. They may argue for the knock-on by a Widnes player. I'd like to watch that one again on the video, but nevertheless, Paul Moriarty drives away for Widnes. McCurry pinches good yards. Excellent dart there by Steve McCurry. Still only a youngster and with a great future ahead of him. Bobby Goulding, well, he's had a great future behind him. He's an old head on young shoulders. Adrian Hadley, goalie there, shouting at Mr. Holdsworth to get up. Carl Hammond inside, Darren Wright looks for support. Hammond was looking to loop round him, but had just been knocked over by Sanderson. And Golding attempts a drop goal. Hammond takes it well and manages to keep hold, and it's back to 1. The charge down given, but Warrington again have hooked the ball offside, surely. Well, Warrington done well there to hook the ball back, but Roland Phillips was definitely in front of that player, and it should have been offside. Mr. Holdsworth had his Liverpool upside down again.
Well, there we go. Everything happening at Wilderspool Stadium. 8 points apiece, coming down to the last few minutes of the first half. 4 minutes to the break. Warrington have had to reshuffle the three-quarter line. We've got Kevin Ellis playing on the wing. There's Sanderson in midfield. Been some crunching tackling and running from both packs out there. Exciting British Rugby League on view. Shelford's released Penny. Penny accepts the first tackle wide out on the right. Huge roar comes in. Lee Penny's got his hand on his head. Would assume that the touch judge, who is after all nearly 4 feet away, has missed something blatantly obvious. I'll bring Gary in. Did you see anything there?
I didn't see anything at all, Bill. No, most of the crowd saw it, but I didn't see it, and the touch judge didn't see it, and the referee didn't see it either. And definitely not. Adrian Hadley didn't do anything wrong there in that tackle, in my opinion. At least that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And thankfully Lee Penny is back on his feet. Seriously, you don't like to see injured players in the game. As an amateur player myself, don't like to see anyone get injured. Stuart Spruce released the ball, but he takes that ball well. Did he lose it, or was it pinched? It was knocked down, yes. Well, the crowd's getting a bit excited. The people up here are getting a bit excited. Mr. Holdsworth was just waiting to see what happened. And the feed goes to Widnes. The ball was definitely knocked down. I don't think it was stolen, but it was knocked down by a Warrington player. And it's great being up here. He can be biased as you want to. That long ball out there. Now Myers is going to go for the corner. Well, Dave Myers, a terrible pass. A forward pass. Myers again is devastated. Paul Hume just looks at him there. You know, I honestly think, Bill, that if Dave Myers had just kept going there, he would have made it to the corner. I think he's got the pace, perhaps just lacking a little bit in confidence there, but I'm convinced if Myers had put his head down, it would have been good night.
Well, if he'd had took the straight line, it's the shortest route. Anyway, scrum count 6 apiece. Fabulous atmosphere now at Wilderspool Stadium for this bank holiday derby clash. If you've never been to a first-class rugby league game, it's time you did. Fabulous entertainment. There's not a club anywhere will turn you away. Roland Phillips fighting in midfield. Coming down to half-time. Gale force wind hasn't ruined the game, which is a vote of thanks to everybody out there on the park. So, Sanderson will play the ball. Here's Mackey. Mackey looks for options, finds Shelford. Shelford finds Penny, finds Jackson. Jackson finds a hole, attacks it. Kelly Shelford drops up on his shoulder. Tremendous passing move. This would be a postcard try. The ball finds its way into touch. The move breaks down. Tremendous attacking rugby league, Gary.
Brilliant stuff, brilliant stuff. The ball kept alive there, an excellent burst, good support by Shelford. And well, the kick ahead came off Stuart Spruce and went into touch. I make it 1 minute left in this first half, a pulsating first half. That may be a cliche, but it's the only way to describe it. It's been all action-packed stuff, and a final chance for Warrington to go ahead at half-time. But really, I think this scoreline is a fair reflection of the game so far. But Davis wouldn't agree with that. He wants some more points, and the Wire looking to go in before half-time in the lead. Head down towards the sticks, the ball kept alive. Shelford gets the ball out, Sanderson, Ellis on the wing, good cover by Darren Wright. And there's a brawl going on. Well, not a brawl, a scuffle I should say. Centre field, it was hardly a brawl. The two big flops there, Gary Tees and Paul Moriarty, just having a bit of Mike Tyson and Frank Bruno stuff in the middle of the pitch. And the touch judge comes on. I didn't see what started that, Bill, did you?
Actually, Gary, yeah, I was more interested in that than the flow of the game. The two players, Tees and Moriarty, got tangled up in the tackle. Initially, there was no malice or anything. They seemed to find difficulty in parting. Punches were swapped. Now, John Holsworth has shown a yellow card to Paul Moriarty. I believe Mr. Tees has got the same thing. So they will now both depart. Let's have a look. In the 40th minute. So they won't be back till the 50th minute. John Holsworth has done the obvious thing. He's penalised both the players. Now, I'm looking for some sort of sign from John Holsworth. Warrington with the advantage at the scrum. Both teams down to 12. Davis has fed Bateman. Well, it was a bad pass. It was eye in the sky. Bateman had the sun in his eyes. Gary's been saying that an equal score at the break would be fair enough, and I think Gary's going to get it.
I'll tell you what, Bobby Golding was fired up there. He charged across the field chasing that ball, and he almost willed the mistake to come, because he was arguing with Mr. Holsworth there that it was unfair to give a scrum. It gave 6 tackles back to Warrington when both sides had been equally penalised by having the players sent off, or sin-binned, they should say, and I think Golding was just looking to play on from the tackle that Warrington were up to when the incident occurred, and he was certainly fired up. Let's hope he doesn't lose his head. I'm sure he won't. Andy Ireland won't lose his as he goes towards the line. McCurry, the ball for Golding, a good support by Tim Russell up to the halfway line. Within now stoppage time, there has been a little bit of that for the injury to Stuart Spruce and Myler. Golding, well, for Milo, took the dummy as well. Everybody took the dummy there, and Bobby Golding just pats Eddie for Milo on the back, realising it was just a misunderstanding. But another chance perhaps for Jonathan Davis. He steps away. A great tackle by Stuart Spruce. Well, Spruce has seen that many times, not had to face it too often, but a brilliant and a crucial tackle. But holding down, given against Steve McCurry. McCurry took a knock in the tackle, and it gives Davis a chance to put the wire ahead at the break.
This is one of those rugby league games that will linger in the memory for many, many days. So, let's recap the game. Scrum count is 9-6 for the Wire. Penalties are 3 apiece. We've had 2 tries for Warrington from Foster and Davis. A try from Moriarty in the 18th minute for the visitors. So, we've had 2 yellow cards for Gary Tees and Paul Moriarty. The score presently is 8 apiece. We're in injury time. As you look at this penalty attempt on your screens, you probably think it's quite simple. It could be thrown over. Not the case today. Strong gusting wind, changing direction. Glad to be able to report there's a healthy crowd in here at Wilderspool today. Many people have made the trip over from Norton Park. Have had full value for money. And here's Gary to describe the kick.
Well, I think Jonathan Davis milked that one a little bit, and he would have enjoyed that jiffy. He'll certainly enjoy it if this one sails over the blue and white and yellow bar on the post down at that end. And he doesn't miss them over the white dot, and the Wire will go in 10 points straight up at half-time. Well, would you believe it? There is the half-time hooter. A brilliant first half. We've got a lot to look forward to in the second half. Warrington surged ahead with tries by Forster and Davis, but then Widnes came back. Bobby Golding converting Paul Moriarty's score and adding a penalty to make it 8-all, but Davis there just seals it at half-time for the Wire. It's 10-8. We'll see you in a minute.
Right, welcome back to Wilderspool Stadium for the second half of what's been an exceptional game. Thanks to match sponsors J&K Ross, match ball sponsors PLP Motors, associate and programme sponsors Jackson's the Chartered Accountants. A tired looking Gary's come back, and we'll now take you through the commentary.
Thanks, Bill. I've had a nice cup of tea down there at half-time, thanks to the staff here at Wilderspool looking after us at half-time. And the Widnes have made a substitution in that break. Is it a knock-on or... Well, I'll just tell you about the substitution in a minute, but you know, Bill, this habit, players seem to have got into this new thing in the game now where they put the ball on the floor and then stand up using the ball to rest on, and it results in so many knock-ons. I saw a couple today, Wigan against Saints, and it happened a couple of times, and for my money it's a bad habit to get into.
Yeah, well, there you go. Can't really argue with that. I can argue with that. There's an elementary type knock-on in midfield. Nearest Widnes player was Carl Hammond. They will now take possession from the scrum down. if the second half lives up to the excitement of the first half, Gary, it's going to be an exceptional game.
Certainly is, and Widnes trying to put a move on there, but Mr. Holsworth just snuffing it out by standing in the way of David Hume, and that is the substitution I was about to tell you about. David Hume has come on, Darren Wright has gone off. He was having an excellent game, especially in defence, and Hume has gone to stand off. David Owain has moved out to centre. I don't know if that's tactical or if Darren Wright took a knock, but we shall see how things develop with this new lineup. And there's Hume straight in, and he sets Hammond through a gap. Now Hammond, he's got to go for it. He's got to go for it himself. He steps inside Penny. Ruane, can he get there? He rolls over, try, surely. Yes, and Widnes have scored. What a brilliant try. 50 metres, 60 metres, coming from the Widnes substitute, David Hume. Well, if that was a tactical move, well done, Phil Larder. I'm sure he'll take the credit for that. He sent Carl Hammond surging through a gap. A brilliant run by Hammond. Well, I thought Hammond seemed to hesitate a little bit, but he just dummied the fullback, went round him, got caught, slipped a lovely ball out there to David Owain. Ruane didn't quite have the legs, the tackle put him down, but he had the presence of mind, the skill and the strength to roll over and put the ball firmly on the line. A great start for the Chemics, 2 minutes into the half, and they've taken the lead. Bill, a good try, a bad one from your point of view.
Yes, a tremendous opening burst. Big credit to Carl Hammond. He made the break and had the presence and the vision to spot the support. Ruane crashed over, cat's well and truly amongst the pigeons, and now Gary's going to help Mr. Golding to convert.
Well, Golding looking to kick against the strong wind. Jonathan Davis struggled with it. Bobby Golding there, I don't know if he was joking, but he nearly fell over backwards. And he sails over. Well, if it was a joke, it certainly worked off. He's the coolest lad on the pitch down there, and he's telling the players to calm down. And Widnes now 14 points to 10 ahead. A great start to this second half for the Chemics. It's all action, and this is one of the best derby games I can remember seeing for a long time, and especially now as Widnes are back in the lead. From my point of view, we're having a great afternoon, and you can hear the Chemics fans behind the stand, behind the Widnes players singing. That ball just fell over as Davis went to kick it, but didn't hamper the kick, and Stuart Spruce now comes out. Well, Widnes struggled against the wind the week before last, in the last game, which was against Featherstone, but the time before that against Hull, they actually played a lot better when they were playing into the wind, and it'll be interesting to see if that happens again this afternoon. Tim Russell bounces off one but goes sideways. Now ball out, Paul Hume forward, shout the crowd. Paul Hume does go forward. Well, what's Andy Ireland doing there? Don't know, but he gets the ball out to Golding. Hume, not the best of balls, but picked up well by Hammond. Hadley steps inside, he throws the ball out, a dodgy pass, but it went backwards. It was fair enough. That was a knock-on though by Steve McCurry. He looks at Senny for Milo. I don't think it was a particularly bad play of the ball, but McCurry just knocking on, and Widnes have got to be careful not to get too overexcited and too carried away, and just stick to the basics. Meanwhile, feed for Warrington.
Scrum count's gone 11-7. Warrington will shortly make a substitution. My apologies for that stumble there. Bateman in midfield. Looks to me as though Paul Derbyshire wearing 12 will be leaving the park. Craig Teitzel wearing 15 will come on. Sanderson's disappeared under two Chemics jerseys there. Thursfield is at acting half. We have Roland Phillips steaming forward. Andy Ireland on the tackle. 4 points in the game then, 14-10. 2 tries apiece. Here's Shelford. Lee Penny cuts inside, takes a tackle. Both of these hard-working teams come into today's game after 3 successive wins. Widnes have had a bit of a break. Warrington struggled to beat Salford last week and trying to stay in touch at the top. Here's Bateman, feeds Mark Forster. Forster cuts in field, feeds Lee Penny. Penny twisting and turning. Lee Penny looking for a yard, nothing doing. Straightens up, head down, charges in, kick time, 4 in the game, early stages second half at Wilderspool Stadium. There's another iffy pass, been a few of those today. Davis looks for a dropper, is successful, so Jonathan Davis pulling a point back. Score now reads 11-14. Drop goal there in the 46th minute from Jonathan Davis. Sticks a point onto the Warrington account. They should also take the ball from the restarts. Craig Teitzel wearing 15, former Illawarra Steeler, hard-working forward, has replaced Paul Derbyshire, who was wearing 12. Would assume that's tactical. Warrington rolling along, remember, at the moment, with Welsh international scrum half and standoff Kevin Ellis on the wing. There's Mackie at third slip taking the ball. Here's Bob Jackson. Jackson steams out, Tim Russell on the tackle. Aussie crunch there, ball will go midfield, look for Mark Forster to do the forwards job. Looks very hard, nothing doing. Fire Marlow and Ireland on the tackle. Yardage picked up. Wind still gale force at Wilderspool. The two naughty boys have come back on. Gary Tees and Paul Moriarty have been let out of the naughty cupboard. So it's Shelford looking at the halfway line, releases Alan Bateman. High pass well taken by Bateman. He cuts, has black and white jerseys all around him. Carl Hammond involves himself in the tackle. Sanderson's at acting half. It's Shelford. Teitzel first touch. Takes a big tackle. Widnes players lights it out. Completely accidental. Jonathan Davis is in broken field. Lifts a skyer. Stuart Spruce comes to take. Magnificent take from Stuart Spruce, and I am very concerned for the injury to the Widnes player. He's took a knock around the head, completely accidental with Craig Teitzel, and it looks to me as though it's a bad knock.
Yeah, I think, is it Paul Hume? I think it's Andy Ireland, the number 8 down there, and he dived down to stop the Wellington player, and obviously took a knock off Teitzel's knee or boot right on the head, and he was flat on his back, and Lynn Gaskell had no hesitation to immediately call for the stretcher. Andy Ireland seems to be coming round. Now it may be his shoulder, difficult to see exactly what it is. At least he's sitting up now, and hopefully we won't need that stretcher. It's the second time it's been on. Let's hope Andy Ireland doesn't need it. The fans behind the sticks are shouting there's only one Andy Ireland. They say that no man is an island, but this island is certainly a man. And it's going to be a blood bin. Widnes are going to use the blood bin. And the club doctor will have a look at Andy Ireland, no doubt. So Christian Tyler comes on there. I don't think that he'll be going into the prop forward position. At least he certainly wouldn't relish the idea of doing that. So Widnes will have to do some shuffling of the pack there. No doubt we'll see Dave Hume go into the pack somewhere, and perhaps Paul may move up to the prop forward position in the absence of Andy Ireland. But that's a bad blow for Widnes. But there is Christian Tyler, who had an excellent game the other week against Featherstone when Widnes had a superb win. So Hume, Moriarty, put back row, a good tackle. 3 Warrington players pushing back. McCurry, Widnes take it to the short side with Familo. Beats the first tackle but goes to ground, and it's the final one for the Chemics. Golding, now what does he do here? Little chip over the top, it's awkward, bounces away, but eventually Alan Bateman falls on it. He did well there just to dribble that ball away from Bobby Golding and take possession for the Wire.
Thanks, Gary. Intelligent play by Bateman there. Here's Rowan Phillips looking at the halfway. Completes the job, gets a great style. Look at the scoreboard, tells you there's 3 points in the game. It's 11-14. Foster's going there. And now 11 minutes into the second half. Been uncompromising stuff. Some huge hits have been delivered. We've had great searing runs, and there's still time for plenty more. As Kelly Shelford showed you. That's Sanderson. Brilliant tackle upon Sanderson there. Excellent raking Warrington attack. Ball goes far side. That's Kelly Shelford. Shelford boxed in, unloads for Penny. Penny sees a yard. Penny almost gone. Last ditch tackling from the Chemics defence. Fire Marlow with the tackle there. Ball's on the far side, it's a gift try. Well, the defence parted, the parting of the seas has allowed Kelly Shelford in. Gary McCarthy on my right, just noting that try down. Bit of a soft try to concede there, Gary. So, Jonathan Davies, double Welsh international, far side, taking his time as ever with the conversion attempt. If he gets it, would be a big lift for his team. So he's approaching the ball, strikes it well, the touch judges raise the flags. What a tremendous conversion in the bright sunshine at Wilderspool. Warrington edging out now, 17 points to 14.
Well, a brilliant kick. I've ranted and raved about kicks like that going over many a times when Jonathan was playing for Widnes, and I've lost my voice on many an occasion describing his towering kicks, and you just can't take it away from the man. There's not many who can compete with him. You can talk about Bottiger the boot, but Davies is definitely amongst the best. Bobby Goling chips that one up, and Paul Moriarty gets there and then loses possession for Widnes. Well, a blow there for Widnes. Moriarty did well to take the ball, but Craig Teitzel hit him on the way down, and it popped out, and the wire come away with Mark Forster in possession.
Well, that's twice that Alan Bateman showed you international class defence. Gary Tees takes an attic shot there, isn't impressed. John Holsworth has whistled, awarded the penalty. We've not had many of them, but all the to-in and throw-in and big hits. On my sheet, penalties are 4-3, scrums are 11-7, and the score is 17-14. 3 tries to 2 now for the wire. Tries for Foster, Davies and Shelford. For the Chemics, the visitors, Phil Larder's men. Tries from Moriarty and Ruane. And Davies goes to the boot, picks up huge yardage. He sent that one by airmail after a towering conversion, a towering touch kick. That ball's just come down somewhere in Busey, and here's Craig Teitzel. Craig Teitzel hasn't been given the best of receptions by the Warrington fans. That's not helped anybody, including the fans or Teitzel. If you want to come and roll your players on, you're more than welcome. If you want to barrack the players, stay at home, don't bother. Anyhow, here's Mackey. Feeds Shelford, long arrow pass. Lee Penny's going, beats Stuart Spruce. Bobby Goulding turns up, completes the job. Warrington with tails up, going for the throat. Roland Phillips attacking the try line. There's a black and white wall involving just about everybody, keeping Phillips at bay. Have a look at the clock, now in the 55th of 80. 17 points to 14. Possible championship at stake. That's how big it is. Here's Mackey. Jonathan Davies has put a slide rule job kick in. Mark Foster on the chase, the wind takes it out. Don't want to preempt matters, Gary, still a long time to go, but the game's starting to seem to tilt Warrington's way.
Well, it is in the last couple of minutes, no doubt about that. And that kick there from Jonathan Davies just caught by the wind. I think Jiffy just underestimating the strength of the wind there. And it goes, fortunately for Widnes, touching goal it was. Paul Hume drives in. Widnes needs something special now. Tyler Familo knocks off the first tackle, can't get the ball out. Paul Moriarty looks for support, flicks the ball back dangerously. It's a race, and Warrington take possession. Tim Russell, well, his arms was just a bit too short there, and Jackson took the ball on the wire, keep the momentum, and come forward with Gary Sanderson. And McCully took a boot in the face there, Widnes a man down.
Yes, Warrington, the run of the ball, the bounce of the ball going their way, but they've made the look. Craig Teitzel had no options out wide, does a magnificent job in sucking in defence. Roland Phillips almost found himself playing outside Kevin Ellis. Tremendous work from Teitzel and Phillips. The ball definitely running Warrington's way. Here's Mackey for Shelford. Shelford looks for runners, it's Gary Tees. Tees takes another attic shot. Tees will ignore it, will play the ball. Warrington looking to stretch out further in front. Here's Shelford. Well, there's a breakdown in communication. Possession for the Chemics in the form of Tim Russell.
Touch a look there for Widnes. The ball bouncing off the back of a Warrington player. Tim Russell takes possession. Tyler, well, he's not been on long and he's took the ball in about 5 times. Maybe he has gone to prop forward position. Who knows? He's doing a lot of work out there. Carl Hammond can't go out anywhere. Forster takes care of him. Bobby Golding. Now what will he do here? Steps inside, spins in the tackle, but nothing comes of it. McCurry is looking for support. There's nobody there. Now there is. Hammond to Hadley, but nowhere to go. Hadley with no options. McCurry's working hard and he's looking for, again, somebody to come with him. Gets a great ball out. Paul Hume inside. Spruce, he's got support, but David Hume was actually, I think, stood in front of Stuart Spruce there. It's the final tackle. Now what will David Owain do? Widnes surely will kick it here, and Bobby Golding puts a high ball up. It's a tester. Spruce knocks it back. Well, in fact, Tyler knocks it back. David Owain couldn't take it cleanly, and it comes to nothing. The excitement dies down the wire, again in possession, but this time in their own 20-metre.
So we're still getting edge of the seat stuff here at Wilderspool Stadium. Absorbing rugby league being played. Now entering the phase of the game where the players will begin to feel fatigue. They've got to reach down into the depths, grit their teeth, and just keep on going. There's Roland Phillips doing just that, with 3 defenders hanging on. This will be Craig Tykesell. No, Thursfield delays the pass. Picks up 4 to 5 metres running away from acting half. Strong wind gusting into the gantry now at Wilderspool. It's fed back for a Davis kick. Davis generates the space, dinks the ball up. Stuart Spruce will be able to let the ball roll out. I'm going to bring Gary in again. There's been lots of debate in the rugby league media, the press, on the terraces, all over the place about summer rugby league. I think we'd all be better off if this was the first game of the season.
Well, there's a lot to be said for that when you've stood up here or out there on the terraces in the snow and the wind and the wet as we have all season. It's been one of the worst seasons weather-wise. But I don't know, there's a lot of traditionalists in the game who like that type of thing and like to eat soggy meat pies down there on the terraces, and I'm sure we'll talk about it for years to come, because it won't happen in the next few years, that's for sure. Meanwhile, back to business. David Hume gets another good ball out, but David Owain this time can't produce anything out of the bag. Took a knock there as he went down, and he's still holding his knees, or with his hands on his knees. The final tackle for Widnes. McCurry, now what's he looking to do here? He gets the ball out. Myers kicks ahead, but it goes straight out. He's not having much luck this afternoon, Dave Myers. And Warrington get possession back midway now into the second half. 20 minutes gone in a half, which it's got to be said, Bill, it's not quite up to the standards yet of the first half. It's been a lot more bogged down, if you like, and the defences perhaps have been on top, but we've still seen some good stuff.
Yes, Gary, I can't argue with any of that. Exactly right. It's not lived up excitement-wise, but there's effort being put in there. Everybody's keeping the ball tied in, because both of these clubs are so evenly matched. One mistake, one drop ball, one missed tackle, and you say bye-bye to league points. There's Shelford trying to instigate some kind of running move. Darren Wright, right below us, does the right thing. Seems to be a bit of a mix-up. Here's Stuart Spruce.
Yes, it was Hadley actually who managed to get to the ball first, and also managed to stay infield. Stuart Spruce, the knees in the back, he gets up and plays the ball, and then has a little word with the big Wellington number 15, Craig Tykesell. No doubt about it, he did take a knee in the back. Moriarty, Widnes finding it difficult at the moment to break down this solid blue and yellow defensive wall, and again the Wire have hooked the ball back. Well, how many times have they done that in the game? It must be 4 or 5 times that Wellington have hooked the ball back. There's an injured Widnes player down there, and Jonathan Davis, being a nice gentleman that he is, just has a look at Steve McCurry. But meanwhile, the Wire are coming forward with Sanderson, and it's back to Bill.
Thanks, Gary. Warrington on the quarter line, tackles in hand. Not seen a running move from them for quite a while now. There's Greg Mackey. Shelford was in support, the ball couldn't be released. And here's Roland Phillips for Bob Jackson. Jackson scores the try. Well, it's a parting of the waves again. It's got to be said, Widnes have competed in this match right up to this point, but that's 2 simple tries they've let in now. Warrington steaming ahead further and further. 10-point lead now, 21-14. Don't want to put you on the spot, Gary, but it has to be said, the last two Widnes tries will give Phil Larder, the last two Warrington tries will give Phil Larder a bit of a headache. So as we're getting the restart now, Jonathan Davis could not convert. 21-14, 7 points only in the game. Now in the 64th of 80, bags of time for Widnes to get back in the game, give their supporters heart. Try scorer, Bob Jackson there. 4 tries for the Warrington club now, 2 tries for the Widnes club, and Mark Forster in midfield. Mark Forster, one of the facets of his game now, is coming in amongst the forwards, giving them a breather, carrying the ball up. Are we seeing a sign of things to come there? We'll have to wait and see. Here's Roland Phillips. 3 defenders getting at Roland Phillips, Welsh international. Being mauled in the tackle ridiculously. John Holsworth has had a good game. Let's play progress. Craig Teitzel there, shrugging off huge hits, getting the ball out. Alan Bateman. Finally tackled by Carl Hammond and Christian Tyler. So this is Shelford for Sanderson. Sanderson breaks the half. Same 2 tacklers. Combine again, put Sanderson away. Ball goes midfield. Davis will lift the skier. That's bounced off the moon. It's on the way down. Players everywhere. Kevin Ellis is nearest to the ball. It's a kerfuffle job. John Holsworth is 100% correct. Calls play back for the knock-on, and it will be a turnover.
Well, that ball was up there so long, Stuart Spruce had time to go up in, but I don't believe it again. Warrington have hooked it back and they get 6 more tackles. Well, that is bad play by Widnes. You know, all credit to Warrington, but there's ways and means of holding players off. If you play the ball properly, then it can't be hooked back. And Widnes, well, really, Phil Larder will be asking some questions at the end of this game if Widnes don't come away with any points. Meanwhile, Warrington on the attack, and I'll let Bill describe this for you.
Craig Teitzel sucks in the defence again. Warrington move it quick style for Lee Penny. He feeds Mark Forster. Forster's no options. Looks for Shelford, who made himself available. That's Gary Sanderson step in. Gary Sanderson refusing to be tackled. Big credit for big Aussie Craig Teitzel there. Sutton defence got the ball out. So it's Thursfield. Shelford spinning. Mark Forster takes a great pass there. Indescribable lapses in the Widnes concentration on 2 or 3 occasions now, but that's their problem. Roland Phillips is going central. It is kick time for the Warrington club. Excellent defence from the Widnes club has kept Warrington pointless with a full set of 6, and Jonathan Davis tires of the boredom, sticks over the drop goal. Score now reads Warrington 22, Widnes 14.
Well, you could have put money on that Jonathan Davis would come away with some points. It's the old adage, and the Bobby Golding, just to complete the misery, kicks the ball straight out. The Widnes are only 8 points behind, and there's still 17 minutes left. Score-wise, they're not out of it, but things just seem to be falling to pieces at the moment. The wagon, not only have the wheels come off the wagon, but I think the wagon's starting to fall to pieces at the moment. And Jonathan Davis, well, why not, decides that with this win behind him, he's going to have a go from the halfway line to put the Wire 10 points ahead. But as Bill said, some really unaccountable lapses in the Widnes concentration in terms of a couple of missed tackles and allowing the Wire to hook the ball back at the play of the ball. Davis on the halfway line, he's got a gale wind behind him, hits it well, but it's going to the left. Stuart Spruce was stood in touch. It's a tap because, well, it's a tap, surely. Yeah, it should be a dropout, I think, on the 20. It's going to be John Holsworth for the minute, didn't know. Stuart Spruce played on because Spruce was stood in dead when he took the ball, so it's a drop out on the 20. I think that's it. I'll just look at it. It's on page 22 of the rule book. But Christian Tyler will take the drop out. I thought Davis would have kicked that one, Bill.
Well, I was expecting the 2 points to be ploughed up onto the scoreboard. It wasn't to be. Instead, we end up with Mark Forster, tackled at the half. Look for the runner, will be Craig Teitzel. Teitzel steaming into the Widnes defensive line, spins through the tackles, Roland Phillips style, and a round of applause goes round Wilderspool. Here it is, Roland Phillips. Warrington have injected 1.5 yards into their broken field running. To get another quick score now, they could end up running away with this game. Clearly forward pass, good thinking note from Gary Tees. Shelford was backing up. I don't know who Widnes are playing on Monday, Gary. Warrington will go to Central Park to try and see off the Wigan club and stay in the title race. Widnes, if they lose today, will have to pick up every point for the top 8.
Well, that was... I thought Mr. Holdsworth was going to allow that to go on. That was virtually exactly what happened in the first half when the ball came out. But thankfully this time, Bobby Golding takes the ball. Widnes, of course, play the usual Bank Holiday Monday fixture against St Helens on Easter Monday. That's at Norton Park, and we, of course, will be there. That was a head-high tackle on Dave the Wayne, no doubt about that. Phillips round the chops. Widnes will get a penalty and they just perhaps, well, hopefully take some pressure off, but there's only 10 minutes left now, and if they're going to come back into this game, they've got to score in the near future. They've worked very hard. Again, it's difficult to take it away from players who are obviously giving 100%. You always do against anybody, but especially in a derby game like this, Widnes against Warrington, it's always nip and tuck. It's always a very hard game, and this has been no exception. Andy Ireland, incidentally, I'm not sure if Bill mentioned it before, Andy Ireland came back on out of the blood bin, and it was Paul Moriarty that went off. So that constitutes a substitution. Hume goes to the blind side. He's looking to pull something out the bag here, but nothing came of it. Now McCurry scampers away. Good play by McCurry. Myers is close to touch. McCurry has gone down injured. Knees in the back, I think. Widnes look to move the ball out wide. Good ball that is to Carl Hammond. Hammond gets a good ball out. Hadley takes it well. Looking for Stuart Spruce, but Spruce was well looked after by Jackson. No point in passing. Now it's the last tackle. Spruce skies one. That ball, well, it's gone backwards. Well, I don't believe that. Hadley thought about throwing it, but nothing to be gained. Widnes in the end just have to settle for the tackle. But I think Bill showing the measure of the power of that wind there, blowing the ball backwards. A banana kick.
Well, that caused a few giggles at the back of the Fletcher end, but the ball did travel backwards about 8 metres. Very windy up here in the ozone layer. Down there on the park, the players are coping marvellous style. 6 tries in this excellent game up to now. And there's Gary Sanderson in midfield. Super tackle came in from Fai Marlow. So Sanderson playing the ball. Roland Phillips takes it up and then gives it up. Bit of bagatelle in midfield. Widnes with much needed possession. Important for them to get the 2 points for the top 8, but finding themselves 8 points down at present.
Carl Hammond drives the ball in. There was nowhere. Carl Hammond had to go sideways. A very dedicated young man. He broke his way into the first team this season, and he's grown in confidence as the season has gone on, and another star for the future, and that has been one of the good things to come out of this season. Christian Tyler, another one of the players who broke into the first team and become a regular, and Widnes keep the ball alive. Hadley's come infield, knocks off one. No, he can't. Oh, an excellent tackle. Well, I thought Hadley was going to go there, and if Bateman had been a yard away, he would have gone for the corner. But an excellent tackle it was. Tyler slips the ball inside, but Steve McCurry, well, he won't thank him for that. There was 2 players on top of him. Play the ball. Golding. Tyler is going to chip. Kicks through. He's not going to get there first. And Ellis does, on the wire, get the ball back. There's a Warrington player, Bill, centre field, getting some attention there. I can't quite make out who that is. Roland Phillips, I think it may be. But the Warrington in possession inside that 20-metre zone. And Widnes now, I've got a tackle. Time is ticking away. on my digital watch. Not exactly ticking, I suppose, in this day and age, but it's certainly ebbing away from Widnes, and it's looking good for the Wire at the moment, Bill.
Thanks to Gary. It is in fact Gary Tees in midfield, getting prolonged treatment from Tony Rothwell. And here's Teitzel. Teitzel bursting through. Excellent run there. Tyler on the tackle. So it's midfield. Shelford goes to the boot. Warrington with an 8-point cushion. 6.5 minutes to go. Ball rolls out. Will be a scrum with a Widnes feed. Just while I bring Gary in again, we've got the Australians touring next year. Great Britain have just been beating the littler teams. You come up against Australia. I'd like to see the coaching staff have a look at some different players. We're going to have to find some top class players to compete with the Australians, Gary.
Well, I think they will be forced to look at different players anyway, especially with Wales having a team in there as well. So you won't have the likes of Jonathan Davis, Paul Moriarty and John Devereux available for the Great Britain squad. And no doubt a couple of new players will get a look in, and that's all good for the game. The more players you can bring into the international experience, it can only do them good. There's stoppage for something, not quite sure. I think Dave Lewayne has got blood somewhere. I don't think it occurred in that tackle, but Mr. Holdsworth spotted it and immediately stopped the clock. And the Widnes physio again comes onto the pitch. I think at times, Bill, she works as hard as the players does coming on and off the pitch. Nothing too serious. So Lewayne plays the ball. Widnes move the ball to that side, and Lynn Gaskell's going to have to be quick to get off the pitch there. She just gets off as Jonathan Davis knocks the ball down, and it will be Widnes to feed. The man of the match was just announced. I didn't quite catch who it was. Was it? I think I'm sure the man of the match was announced a few minutes ago while we were talking about the Great Britain touring squad, or the Aussie touring squad. But we'll see if we can catch up on that in a few seconds. Meanwhile, the Warrington physio is now on the pitch. 5 minutes left, and we'll just take this chance to remind you that we will of course be covering both of those Easter Monday games, Warrington against Wigan and Widnes against St Helens. And we'll bring you all the action and the atmosphere with the usual excellent commentators that we have for those four clubs, myself excluded of course. I wouldn't count myself in on that, but Bill will be there doing an excellent job at Wigan in his inimitable style, and I'll be at St Helens with Ronnie, who is the king of the commentators. Back to the game though, a big match here at Wilderspool. Bobby Golding gets the ball out. Tyler Spruce comes into the line, but he's looked after well by Jonathan Davis and Alan Bateman down there. Tim Russell was steaming up this short side, but Dave Lewayne took the ball away and then eventually gives it to Russell, who had stopped and was stood still when he took that ball, and Widnes didn't gain any advantage by that pass. Andy Ireland drives the ball in, took some stick off Paul Hume in Paul's local Widnes Weekly News column, which he does every week, because it is of course Paul Hume's testimonial this season. He's got lots of events coming up, so watch out for them in the local newspapers, and also make sure you read Paul's column, because especially if Widnes get beat, it's always a humorous column and it does something to cheer you up. And we might need it after this afternoon, because there's just 3 minutes left and Widnes still 8 points behind. McCurry goes away, gets the ball back to Familo, but Familo takes a big hit there off Gary Tees, and it's hurt Familo. Familo knocked over by that, and again the Widnes physio comes on. The clock is stopped. Paul Moriarty is warming up anyway, and I think they may take Familo off. Not long left now, Bill, and an excellent performance by both sides. Difficult to pick a man of the match. I think Phillips and Tees must both be in it for Warrington. Tim Russell's had another good game for Widnes. Paul Hume, of course, and Stuart Spruce not had a bad game. Carl Hammond, but your man of the match for Warrington. Have you got one, Bill?
Yes, Alan Bateman. I think his contribution on defence has been absolutely outstanding. He's been the usual strike weapon when he's had the chance to run. So the top of the Stones Bitter Championship, a very interesting place. Warrington need Bradford to lose 2. which won't happen. But Warrington could find themselves finishing second. We get the restart. For the Widnes club, I've been well impressed with Carl Hammond. Well, there's an elementary schoolboy type header right below us. I've been well impressed with Carl Hammond for the Widnes club. Looks a good prospect for the future. So here's Mackie again, and Mark Forster. Mark Forster scoring tries regularly now. Thursfield's at acting half. Looks at Roland Phillips. Phillips carries the ball up, gets shut off. Bobby Goulding taking a shot in the face there. Now, whether that was intentional or not, Bobby Goulding took hell of a bang. However, here's Craig Teitzel. Teitzel sucks in the defence as usual. Bobby Goulding getting urgent attention from the Widnes physio. And Greg Mackey is in possession for the wire. Roland Phillips cuts. Well, there's a little bit of argy-bargy breaking out. Tim Russell having a go at Roland Phillips. Bobby Goulding still lying inert on the park. I'll bring Gary in.
Well, I think that's disgraceful for John Holdsworth. Twice so far he's stopped the game when players have been out. Bobby Goulding, for all he knows there, Bobby Goulding could have swallowed his tongue or anything when that happened. He clearly saw him down flat, and I think that John Holdsworth was well out of order. And, well, you know, for the other players, he's stopped the game. Bobby was flat out there, and he didn't stop it. And finally he did. Not only was he flat out, but he was also in danger of interfering with play because the ball was passed over his head. However, nevertheless, that's Mr. Holdsworth's prerogative. It's my prerogative to say what I think about it. Widnes come up with the ball. Really, it's gone away now unless they can get something here, but they can't. It was a forward pass. Anyway, Davis, well, I think Davis was looking at a fairy tale ending there to get the final score of the game, but Stuart's Blues just caught him by the boot. But an excellent game it's been. Warrington have just got the edge in the second half, 22-14, and I think that unless the wire score here, that's the way it's going to finish, because we are now in stoppage time, Bill.
Well, thanks to Gary. I thoroughly enjoyed this afternoon's proceedings. Gary Tees taking what you could call an upstairs shot there. However, everybody out there on the park for both the teams has given 100%. It's Craig Teitzel, unloads a great ball. Jonathan Davis does not score the try. Touch flag was well and truly not down. But anyway, in the sunshine at Wilderspool Stadium on a bank holiday, a good healthy crowd, all the happy Wolfpackers gained admission for free. At Wilderspool, the Warrington team roll on. Widnes will make the top 8. Phil Laird will have a few things to say to his troops. But for me, it's been a top-class game. I'll enjoy watching the video time and again. I'll bring Gary in. I'll put him on the spot. Will Widnes make the top 8?
Well, I think they will. They've got some difficult games coming up, but don't forget Widnes have got to play Leeds the week before. Leeds go to Wembley to face Wigan, so that could be a couple of points in the bag there for Widnes. I'm sure Leeds won't put a full strength side out. They've also got St Helens. Well, St Helens are suffering a little bit at the moment, and their confidence must be going, because the last couple of games they've had all the pressure and all the ball, but just not been able to win against Leeds in the semi-final. Against Wigan this morning they got beat after having lots of chances, so you've got to fancy your chances in that one. We've also got Halifax, so Widnes could pick up some points in the run into the end of the season, and I'm confident, I have been all season, that Widnes would finish in the top 8, and I'm still confident. It's been a blow today that we're not going to come away with the points, but they've put up a good performance, had the chances, things just not gone our way. And let's not forget that Warrington are second in the table, and I think may go top this afternoon after this win, so that, you know, has got to be said. Davis, well, he may yet get the fairy tale he wants. I'm sure Jonathan Davis is determined to score the final try this afternoon. He's been denied over there in the corner. He was denied by Stuart's Blues before, and there was no way that he was going to pass that ball to the support players. And to be honest now, well, I just wish that the Hooter would go and keep this a respectable score. I think the scoreline is perhaps a fair reflection of the game. I think if Warrington scored now to make it any more, that would be perhaps a little bit unlucky for Widnes and a little bit of an unjust reflection on the game. But they are still coming forward, and I'm sure the Warrington fans won't agree with me on that. Bob Jackson, well, he's been named man of the match, I've just been told, and he would like to have finished there with a try just to round it off. And he did, well, I thought he had done, but no. Well, as you give it Well, he's given it. I didn't see him point down. He didn't point. He held his hand out. Jackson, to round it all off, does finish with a try. The Warrington man of the match scores the final one to make it 26-14.
Crowd, bank holiday. Lots of smiles on faces. Davis defies an awful wind, puts the kick over and makes the score 28-14. Well, we had no time there. The Hoots has gone straight away. Warrington record the win by 28 points to 14. 7 tries at Wilderspool. Thanks for watching this Micron video production, and we'll catch you again. Bye bye from Wilderspool.